Where's the remote? Found it.
Turn off the lights.
All right.
Did you grab the drinks?
Yeah, I got them.
Okay, I'm making the popcorn.
It's starting. Come on.
All right. Okay, I'm here. Hit the button. Hi, I'm Jill.
And I'm Gianna.
And welcome to the We Watch It All podcast,
where we watch it all and give you our opinions.
AKA the opinions no one ever asked for.
And today we're doing Kaleidoscope from two different watch points.
Yeah. Well, could be from anybody's watch point. Many watch points.
Yeah.
That's the point of the point. No, that's the point of the show. I don't know.
It's the point of the point. Sure, that works too.
I guess their premise was to film series, which I think, I always love a clever, way of doing. Yeah, because you know what? It's a heist. How many ways can you do a heist? Well, I think this was interesting in concept, for sure. So they took them and gave them colors as names.
Yeah.
And
so you figure out what, and then they told you where it would have been.
Yeah.
Related to the heist. Yeah,
they told you, so this is 6 months before, 7 days before, whatever have you. So I thought it was interesting in the respect that because the heist happened, watching the heist didn't mean that it would spoil anything. You knew there was going to be a heist. That was the whole thing. So it didn't matter how you watched it, really. I don't think I liked the way I ended it with my last episode. Mm-hmm. It was just a little flat. So it was okay. By the time I got to my last color, I could have done without that color.
Interesting.
But other ones I felt were very, I liked the way I started it. It got me, into it, because I was what the hell is going on here? You know what I mean? But...
All right, so what color order did you go in?
So it was a toss-up. I wasn't sure which way I wanted to go. Did I want to go in lightest to darkest? Did I want to go in rainbow? Did I want to do the conventional and go, chronological? Or did I want to, do the heist and then flash back through everything? I didn't know. I went with very petty favorite colors.
Yeah, I mean, that's one I haven't seen anybody talk about.
Well, because I wanted to do it where it was really, truly a random, I didn't want to pick anything that was like I said, flashback or in the order that they gave it, because I'm sure their order had some, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
reasoning.
At the end, once we share our opinions, I came up with some lists that I think would definitely be in order not to watch it in, and some orders that I think you could probably watch it in and you'll still enjoy it. I went chronological because...
Wait, so you went
in timeline order.
Okay.
Which I felt was right for me because you guys might not know this, but I'm very big on watching everything in timeline order.
Yeah.
We have multiple times I forced you to watch the MCU in chronological order. We've done the DC, even though it's not really like that. But I just prefer, I like that. It's just funner for me to do that. So I was so I figured,
sometimes it gives away too much of the story, though. Sometimes they get if you did watch it in 20, where you did the 20, because their options were there was pink. Well, this is the way I watched it, but regardless, there was you could do 6 months after the heist, 24 years before the heist, 5 days before the heist, 6 weeks before the heist, morning after, 3 weeks before, and 7 years before. So to me, if I watched the one that you watched first, 24 years before the heist. I watched that second.
Yeah.
So once I watched that one, it explained so much more to me, which I wasn't upset that I got to see it, because the one that I watched first was 6 months before the heist, which was pink. It was a really charge-packed episode.
Wait, no, that's not 6 months before the heist, Molly. That's 6 months after the heist.
6 months after.
Which I did. I accidentally clicked on that one first, and I saw the first few seconds on it because I read it as before the heist, but it was actually after.
No, I was oh god. No, I just said it wrong. But that one was 6 months, like she said, after the heist. So a lot had already happened. Yeah. Is that the furthest timeline from the heist? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the furthest timeline from the heist. So, everybody was already done with it, settled, kind of moving into their places. So
you're kind of, working your way backwards, a detective almost.
So with that one, I was okay, wait, why is this guy doing this? Why is that one doing that? How did those two end up together? And what, were they always together? So, once I got to the next one, which was Violet, that I chose 24 years before the heist, that explained a whole lot more.
Yeah.
So, it gave a little bit too much away, but not...
See, here's the thing. So, for my order going chronologically...
But some of the stuff I needed because I was very confused.
Yeah, so for me, it gave you the motive and the reason for the heist, this one. That's what that really was. But it also...
See, sometimes I like that not to tell. I don't want to be told.
But then I think there's parts in the heist that if you watch the ending of the episode of the White Heist, you're kind of
wait, what? Yeah.
It makes sense.
why?
You
needed to know that, definitely. Yeah. I definitely think that one. Violet, you needed to watch before you watch the heist, wherever you put it. It definitely would have. It made watching the heist better because you understood why he was doing a lot of things.
I did one of my other reasons was I do think you could put the Violet somewhere else in the timeline and it still would work quite well. But I definitely think it does give you that whole.
Oh no, I think you could put it anywhere, but I think you got to put it before the heist. So if you like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you could put it further down, but I think it needed to be before the heist because I think it made understanding why on the like in the White episode of the heist, like why he left the necklace. Like there were little things that if you weren't paying attention, because there was a lot of details, like you would have been like, wait, I don't.
Yeah, there was actually a couple of details that I did miss, but I found some Easter eggs online, actually from Netflix themselves, that explained some things that happened in the show.
Because in that 24 years before, the Violet one, the 24 years before, there were things that like I was just like, wait, I'm not sure what's going on. But because some people were in the 6 months, I didn't recognize certain people. So like at the end when he lets his daughter go with that woman, I thought that was just child services. Like I didn't realize that was Ava.
Yeah.
Because he said her name so quick that I was just like, and I didn't recognize her because she was at a distance and all like that. And I was like, okay, wait, why is like he's so willing to like let her go with this lady? Like, but then that was way down in green which is my last episode that I found out they start talking about that. You asked me to place her, like, so like I was like, oh, like so see something like that was too far apart for me to like. It wasn't until that very last episode that I realized like, oh, she placed her in a home for him and stuff, so he didn't have to worry about that. Like I don't know, but I do think, like you said, I'm curious to see what orders you thought would be better because I do think there should have been like certain ways to watch it. That would have made it better or more enjoyable.
We're going to talk about what happens in the episodes now. So if you're just looking for the watch order, we'll put the times in the description so you can skip ahead and just see what orders you think we would think were better without spoiling the show for you guys. Because now this is spoiler time.
Yeah.
All right. So do we want to explain it then in chronological order? Do you think that would
be we'll go with your chronological and then I'll say how I put what I picked from my orders.
So then first for me was Violet, which was 24 years before the heist. So this kind of introduces you to obviously the main character, Leo. And
AKA Ray. He was also known as Ray,
And Roger, and Roger, who was his partner, they would break into houses, do like, little crimes basically. And he ends up saying, okay, I'm out, I'm done.
He wanted to get out because it was a lot.
Yeah. And then when his wife gets fired, they end up deciding, okay, well,
then
let's steal from his place.
That whole thing was insane.
Yeah, and this is kind of the main trigger for the whole heist, which is kind of why this is important to watch because, Roger, once this heist goes wrong, he sets the place on fire, essentially letting Leo's wife kind of die in the fire.
Yeah, he didn't know that, but when he set the place on fire, he didn't know she was trapped in there because she came there unexpectedly. The boss called her back unexpectedly to help with these books for this auction that they were having, that they were planning on stealing from. But see, like, this is where the thing is, like, I still didn't know. I knew when he showed up, when I saw him with this other gentleman at this thing, and then I saw, like, Leo or Ray, whatever you want to call him, when I saw them together, I'm like, oh, wait, so he knows Roger Salas. But like I didn't, when you saw them, like him come into the room where he was breaking into the safe and that you saw they were friends, I'm like, okay, so now there's clearly you see something went wrong because they were friends. Because when in one of the episodes where you see him, he goes to visit him in jail, they know each other, or like it wasn't just like I stole from you, because it's just weird. But like it does break down, like he was with the family, like he was very tight. He was tight with them. So I mean, I just never understood why he walked away and left the lady die there. Like, why didn't he even try?
Yeah, but that's kind of the whole purpose for the heist, obviously. Based on the title card where they had the daughter all grown up in there, as soon as I saw this younger daughter, I knew, like, okay, she's going to be a part of the, like, main heist. The little girl...
no, I didn't suspect her at all. I didn't see that coming.
No, because it was just the way she was, like, she just knew, like, so much already, so little, that I was like, she's going to have to be involved in this, like, a main heist somehow.
Yeah, but I don't think she knew that he was doing that.
No. I just know. I'm just saying by like her basic intelligence is good. She seemed like that kind of smart, like
older
the dad.
For her. Yeah.
So that's how I kind of figured.
I did think that Leo and Salas worked together before because I started with the pink episode.
Yeah, so you started with
it. So in my episode that I started with, it kind of because it's so far after the heist, you see everybody like is angry at each other. You don't know how they got angry.
Yeah.
But you do see him going to, like, you see him at the end, like, going to the jail and stuff like that.
I do think you could have... Yeah. I think Pink would have been a good one to start with, and then maybe doing the chronological order.
Yeah, because
Pink
good. Was very action-packed.
Yeah.
Like, it started with the guy Bob, who is, like, I guess he was supposed to be a safe cracker, and he was, like, just, like, first of all, he couldn't speak, so I was like, okay, how does all that happen? And they do show you all that. Like, they show you everything in the end. Like, you get answers to almost everything, is the one thing I can say, in one or the other. So, like, this, I feel, was, like, Bob's episode. Like, I feel like each episode was meant for someone. And I was trying to think, did the colors coordinate with kind of the mood of what was going on?
Kind of. Well, the pink one
and I felt Pink was because his love for Judy and his obsession with her and all.
No, the pink sanded beach, when he dies, if you look, the blood that he sees turns pink. Yeah. The blood makes the beach look pink. Yeah, so he got his final goal.
But see, I was thinking in, like, different terms of, like, what colors mean.
Yeah,
like
true.
From like that, like I was thinking this was like a love obsession type thing of
that works.
You know, kind of. But
the only thing with this, so it took me a little bit to want to like get into the show because the 24 years before was kind of slow because it was a lot of story based.
See, that's why I'm saying. So
that's why it wasn't like if you did go chronologically, it didn't suck you in. But I think if you had gone with Pink and then went chronologically, you'd have like something that like
no, because that's what like because I watched Pink and so much happened in Pink. Like they introduced all the characters. You just didn't know where they all fell in line because this was like because it happened so far in the future. Like everybody was set, so you wanted to know like okay, well,
how did who get there?
How are they all not friends? Because you instantly knew nobody was friends.
Yeah.
So like I wanted to know like how that all happened. So when I had the opportunity to go back to like in 24 years, like. It was slow, yes, but it was interesting to me because it was answering questions. Like, it was definitely answering questions for me, even though it didn't...
for me, it was setting up the plot instead.
So it was like, it didn't really touch on all the other characters except for Ava, which I didn't even know who she was.
Yeah.
I mean, she came and did fencing like that was part of it, but...
Yeah, because I think even if you if you did and you just kept, like, if you wanted to go in chronological order and then kept the morning after the heist...
Yeah.
I forgot what color that is, but the morning after the heist, right after the main heist, that would have worked because I feel like the morning after the heist is still...
Whoa. Did you see that?
Her notes just, like, blurred out.
Right?
The morning after the heist is red.
It's red, yeah.
So here's the thing. The morning after the heist feels like it's like just still like the rest of the heist episode. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So I think you could have like had those. I think you could have gone in like 6 months and then like a flashback. The next episode would have been 7 years before the heist. This one is kind of important, and I do think maybe you should do like the 24 and the 7 together because I think you shouldn't do anything.
That was yellow?
That was green.
Wait. Oh, 7 years before screen. Yeah, see that one.
I think you should have done, I think you've got to do, if you do that, you have to keep the year stuff together because it's important, that one, because this is where you meet Stan, who ends up joining the team from prison. Yeah. And this is also where they identify that Ray has Parkinson's, and that's why he can't crack the safe, and that's why they have to bring Bob in and all that.
Yeah.
So it is kind of important because when you start with the 6 months, he just already has, the Parkinson's like fully in effect, which I know you could assume happened over time, but I think
but see now here's the thing, it's like for mine I didn't really know what he had because they didn't really address it in Pink. They just show him shaking and having these convulsions and you're like, okay, well, what is that? So as a person that doesn't know the signs of Parkinson's, I was like, I know he has something, I just don't know what he has, and I know that he's together with Ava at this point and she's helping him and keeps him medicated and whatnot and stuff, but I didn't know what.
That's why I think, the 24 and 7 should definitely be, like, episodes you keep together.
Yeah.
Just because I think it would be better to keep, like, years, weeks, like that together in a group.
But the only thing that was good is, in this episode, the Pink one that I watched first, they do show an FBI agent. The FBI agent.
Yeah.
Nazan?
I don't know.
That was her first name. They show her obsessed with this case.
Yeah.
And she has a board that breaks down like what everybody was. Like Ava was weapons, Judy was explosives, Bob was a safecracker, Stan was the smuggler, Leo was the mastermind, and there was a driver that I didn't know at the time what his name was RJ. Yeah. So, like, she did give you all the characters in pink. So that's why I thought this...
Like, who they stole it from and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. And then she told you about, like, the triplets were, like, Cho Young-woo and Stefan Thel and Suzanne Goverson. And then she also had Roger Salas. Yeah. So she told you, like... You knew who all your main players were. So that's why I thought this one was a good one to start with. Because you knew all your key players. And they did show them all. And now you figured out what was going on.
Yeah, because I also feel like, I see how you could say 7 is just so, like, I don't even need this episode anymore because...
Well, because, I ended with...
At this point, it's nothing that it's...
I already knew he knew Stan from when they were in jail. Yeah. From prior episodes.
It's really not adding anything. The only thing it's giving you is that he went to go meet with Hannah and that's when he gives her the letter that tells her who Roger is. But still, I think
they do a flashback in one of the episodes that shows that him talking to her about like the triplets and stuff.
I think it's the heist.
Yeah. So you already know.
So you could have definitely gotten rid of this episode.
And she speaks to him when she comes to save him in the heist. There's a point she comes to save him where he's going to get like killed or something. She says to him, "I'm okay with you now. After you told me who he was and what he had done." So you knew they had already like they addressed like that he had done this. So for me, like. Yeah, it filled in more. It was more filler. Yeah, like that's what I was like. It shows him in prison. It shows how he got to be with Stan. It's just like a filler. It established this was like Stan's episode.
I will say one of the Easter eggs was if you actually pay attention, the prison guard who comes and gets Stan when Leo's breaking out to distract him is actually Stan's wife. That's the girl that he marries that they run the meat shop together with.
Really?
Yes, that is the same lady.
Huh.
Which is probably how she picked up on the fake detective. In the morning after the heist was that she herself was a cop and knew.
Oh.
So that's what I was... And he probably, like, told her about the stuff. She must assume.
No, she definitely knew she knew his past and knew everything about him.
Yeah, so that would make sense. I saw that on the Instagram of Netflix. They had shared that, so I was
but for me, for this to be my last episode, which is what it was,
kind of like
it was a downer, because it was just Hannah reading the letter. Yeah. Like from her dad saying, "This is what I've done, and this is what."
Yeah, but by the heist, you already know that she knew everything.
Yeah, so it was just like it was not like I didn't think it was like the good one to end it on. So I get what they're saying is like no matter what you watch you're still gonna know everything and have the same ending that there was a heist and this is what happened.
Yeah, you still know the whole story.
But like for that to be my last one, I was kind of like, I was like, I really didn't need to do that. But
the next one after that would be Yellow, which is 6 weeks before the heist. This is basically now where he's assembling this team.
Yeah.
And this one is good because also you do technically meet Judy and Bob in the 7 years before because that's who comes to visit Stan in prison as well. So you kind of know who these people are from there.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not entirely confused.
Well, because it was weird because I'm trying to figure out like why in my Pink episode, which is the first one, why Bob is obsessed with Judy, but yet she's with Stan.
Yeah. And
like I'm like, okay, wait, I don't know, like I was like, what's going on in there? So this did establish their storyline where it kind of told you like, you know, that. And I mean, what I like about the heist is I love hearing how they are going to plan it.
Yeah, so this is
like,
kind of where
always
it picked
those
up
little
for me.
Like weird intricate things. So that's what I like
this
about.
Was more like by this point this is where the show was like picking up for me because for me, like I said, Violet and Green were just laying down the plot for me. So still those two are still kind of very slow. Where this is now like their whole goal is to set up this group. They're gonna go steal jewelry to cover the funds that they need to perform the heist, basically.
And it just works out that his daughter worked for him. Now, see, here's the thing: in the Green episode, when he finds out that she worked for him,
that's where they set up this.
That's where they set up the whole thing. But I think he had the whole once he saw like the family and all like that really set him off. But that he had a family and he was living happy and didn't think twice about them. But the thing that got me was Ava said in the Green episode that he handpicked her out of college. So my question was, which is one of the only questions they didn't answer, did Roger Salas know who Hannah was? Because if she was placed into a nice family, then how would he have known who she was?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if he knew who she was and that's why he picked her, trying to like help make things right.
Maybe.
Because of the mom. Maybe. But they never really say that.
Yeah, clear that
but
up.
He did take her under his wing weirdly.
Yeah. And like
So maybe
she was also dressed in like jeans and a sweater as the head of security.
Well, that was off duty and stuff like that. Yeah, true, but I mean, because there was other times where she wasn't, like when you'd see, she was dressed like appropriately. But I think that one was,
Well, that was because they came in the middle of a hurricane. True, yeah.
Yeah.
But she did move up quite quickly, I guess, in like the 7 years for the head of his whole.
I mean, she did do a lot to help herself move up quite quickly, but
Yeah. So. I mean, maybe he didn't know, but that's kind of the whole, like, is now that you find in this yellow episode that Hannah's going to kind of, like, help them break into this vault that he has in the SLS vault, which is, like, the most safe vault in the world, basically, is what he says. Then next for me would be 3 weeks before the heist. This is orange. But you had something else in yellow?
Wait, and, well, that was, in the yellow was when they did the diamond heist.
Yeah.
That was also like that's how the FBI got brought into it too.
Yeah.
Because they found Ava's prints on a casing.
Yeah.
And apparently Ava is a lawyer and she is Ray's lawyer.
Yeah.
I didn't really get all that till this one when they pull her into the police station and ask her, or the FBI.
Well, actually, that's in orange.
Maybe that would, yeah.
Or in orange, this is where they suspect that she's on the team because they find the prints on the gun, which I was like, that's incredibly smart for her to be like, yeah, I reported my guns stolen.
What episode would this be in, like, technically? The third or the fourth?
Fourth.
All right, so what did I watch third? I watched Blue. Blue was 5 days before the heist, which it was fine in that order. Like, I didn't care that it was like, I mean, I probably would have put it maybe, I think after 24 years, I would have either preferred the heist and then to flashback and show how they did it. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, Blue didn't, like, faze me in that order. Like, after those, it was like...
Yeah, because that was just kind of, like, setting up.
Yeah, because after Blue,
Instead of
fourth,
orange,
my fourth episode was the heist.
Okay.
So now I was already into the heist.
Yeah.
At this point.
So I had done orange, which is where they kind of have... This is where the FBI really gets involved because now they have Ava to help them.
Because I really wasn't understanding what was going on with how the FBI truly got into this. Yeah. Because in the white one for the heist, I think that's where I see Ava, like, contacting...
she messaged the FBI agent to come over. It's like, it's happening on the 59th floor to distract them.
Yeah, but when you see where's the one that's a couple of days before? Is that Blue?
Blue. That's the hurricane.
Yeah, so in the hurricane one, in the Blue, 5 days before, you see her, like, because they break it down, but you see her calling somebody, and, like, you don't really know who Ava's calling. Yeah. And I'm like, but then I should say, no, actually, going further back, in the pink, which was my first one, Bob goes to see Salas in jail, mm-hmm. and he tells him, I'll give you half your money, blah, 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 because nobody walks away with money in the end, in this whole thing. He says, I'll give you money.
Except for Hannah. If you look in the back, she has a FedEx box in her home. He
says, if you kill Leo Pappas, a.k.a. Ray, I will give you your money. So that is now Bob's goal in pink, is also to get Judy and Stan and to kill Leo so that he can get his money.
Yeah.
When you get to their house, he says to them, hold on, I have a book and I have their numbers and I can send them a code. In turn, he sends the code to the FBI, which you see at the end of Pink.
Yeah.
So that was like where when I realized, I'm like, wait a minute. So somehow him and Ava are in contact with FBI and was able to trigger FBI to come to the beach to find Bob instead of Judy and Stan, which, I mean, they happen to be there anyway. But so that was like already for me, I was like, all right, somebody is a rat in there, or are they? Or I couldn't figure that out. Well, here's the thing too: if
you go with white before they get Ava, before the FBI thinks they have Ava working with them, then it's kind of like the heist part, because then you kind of know that, like, she's not going to truly work with the FBI. Like, for me, it was kept like a mystery until I got to the heist. Like, is she actually working with the heist? Because now I'm like,
okay, so something's going on here, and I'm like, no, because...
Yeah, because then you see once they get to the, once they text her and she's talking to Leo, she's like, yeah, I'm sorry, send the text now, and then you see them
you see them.
It's like, okay, no, she's not. But for me, it was still kind of like, it was kind of like, oh, is she working with them? Is she not working with them? Like, you couldn't, it still kept that a mystery. But going with the heist before that, or like anything after that, I guess it kind of does spoil that no, she doesn't truly work with the FBI in the way they hope.
Yeah, see, like, that's what I'm saying, like, about, like, what the colors mean. Because for me, the orange starts with Nazan in her AA meeting talking. So you realize she's got a whole lot of stuff to her. Like, she has an addiction, and, you know, she's obsessed with this case, and you realize she replaced the case with her addiction. And now she's like, that's what she's addicted to, is solving this case. Then you find out, like, she has a son. Like, you knew none of this. Like, so it's interesting. Like, it gives you more of the backstory for, I feel like this orange episode is Nazan's episode, where it tells you who she is. And like when you look up the color orange meaning, it's supposed to be like positivity, warmth, and all, and it is about like her getting her son back, and, you know, like all the stuff that she went through on her job. Trying to be better and be like positive and all like that. So that is why I think like they did like link colors to certain things. There has to be a reason they picked the colors with what they did. Yeah. But I couldn't figure out the Ava Nazine connection, like, because she did in one of the episodes, I can't remember which one I wrote down, she threatened Ava's mother or whoever that is, or aunt or something.
It was her nanny growing up. It's like the last relative she has.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, she obviously has something on her, but how does she have something
orange
on
episode?
Her? Like, it was weird, because but then that was where I was telling you before, where the FBI said to her, you have all this power, connections, and money, and they were calling her an attorney, and I'm like, when was she an attorney? But then I'm realizing as this is coming out, she got, like, what's her name, Nazine was involved in this, like, listening into her, like, talking with the FBI agent, and then when they came to, like, reprimand her, she explained that it was years ago when he escaped from prison 7 years ago in Green, they came to her house and did an interview, and when she did the interview, I guess she was on drugs, and said she didn't take the interview seriously, and that's when they said, because Ray was dead or whatever, and that Ray was dead, and she filed a complaint against her. So like this became like her obsession with the whole thing. It was very weird, but again, I liked how they planned the diamond thing, because like I like watching them plan heists.
The next one for me would have been Blue. This is kind of where Roger realizes that this back door, this vault that he has, is like you have to walk through it, and then if it gets too hot in this room, above 73 degrees, then it goes wrong. So they had this back door to control the temperature, which ends up getting close. So they realize that they're going to have to use the upcoming hurricane to basically drop water into this room to keep it at below 73 and not have anybody realize.
Yeah, the blue episode to me gave a lot of information. It planned the heist. You knew Leah was coming for Roger. Like,
Who's Leah?
Leo.
I thought you said Leah.
No, Leo.
I was like, who the hell's that? Like, did I miss something?
You see in this one, like, also that, like, Roger is now this big financial money guy with these safes, and he's doing all this stuff, and nobody knows about his past, and he breaks down the whole situation like that. Like, to make this job happen, there's 7 jobs before the actual heist that had to take place. There's 505 Wall Street, where they get to clone the armor truck, and they have the guy RJ go in, do that on a bike, and then it's getting into the SL doors, which were manned by armed guards with 2 elevators, and then there's 2 armed guards in that with military training that you have to get through. Then there's the vault hallway, which they use the bees to like
distort the thing.
Which was pretty impressive, because I saw them bringing bees, and I'm like, what are bees for?
Yeah, because I remember getting the card, and he's like, here, you can take care of the bees. And I'm like,
I'm like, what are you doing for the bees?
Something, and then they used it in the heist.
And then the system has to recognize the person, like, as they're walking through, and if you aren't like supposed to be there, the gates will close, and it will call the guards and the whole bit. So they would have easily, and then you have to open the vault door and turn off the temperature sensors. You have to use like this 3-part thing where it's something you are, something you are, like your face, and then something you have, and then something that you know, which is the code, and only Salas has the code. They never say how they get the code.
Oh yeah, they don't.
No, they don't say how they get the code, except that there's a chair, and they show something on the chair, and I don't know if that's how they got the code. That I don't know. But then he said, I think he said to get the code, that's where they were going to use the back door. Or the back door would shut off the temperatures. He said that he put a backdoor in 7 years ago, which is amazing.
Yeah, which is when they
which shows you, and then
that's when they had obviously.
And that's where that's where the daughter was starting. Like, I didn't know she was the daughter when I was watching the heist and all like that, or at this time, and like that's where I was like getting tripped up because I'm like, okay, something's up with this girl, and I even wrote that like something's up with her before I knew who she was in the White episode because I'm like, she's telling him, yeah, no, nothing would happen to that, but meanwhile I know that he has I know that he did something with a backdoor because I watched it before the White episode.
Yeah.
So I know he put a backdoor in. So I'm like, all right, is she involved somehow? And like that's when I started realizing like, yes, she is. And then they said they have to
These cats behind us are just making noises. Do you hear them?
Who?
These two over here?
Then they have to crack the safe, get the bonds, and haul everything up to a truck. See, because I watched the Violet episode, I understand why he decided to go after Roger now. And, like, it made a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Because he's
it's
looking
not just like
to
he's
take...
just taking like a random thing.
He wants to take everything from him. But I thought he just wanted to take everything from him. I didn't understand until I watched the White episode.
Yeah.
Like, what... Because I'm like, all right, even though they stole from him, how did Roger Salas end up in jail?
Yeah.
It's like that was what tricked me up. So like until you watch like the heist, then you realize like
which
what
is
went
what's
on.
next for me is the heist, which is them completing the plans like you just said. But what happens is while they're doing this, they first off they end up messing with the temperature thing. They drop it and they blow more water into the...
Well, yeah, but even before that, the problem they have to come up with this alternate plan, which Judy does because in a way, when you watch the Yellow episode, I think it was, you see that Hannah was able to move up to his senior VP because she set up the guy that was in that position. She was only trying to get the junior one, but then she realized it wasn't going to happen. So she set this guy up. And you see at the end of that one where you see the little flash drive that they found all the information. And this guy that she set up, because he ended up working in some kind of like Radio Shack, like Best Buys type thing, he gets pissed and tries to blackmail him. So that makes them start looking. And even though Hannah was involved in like was high security, there were still other people. And his whatever that right hand guy was, I forget his name.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, there was another John. No, Carlos, I think. He found, or somebody else found the back door.
Yeah.
And there was not much she could do about it because she had to stay in character.
And that's when they closed it down.
Yeah, and that's when they closed it down. And
that's when they decided to use the hurricane.
Yeah, and that's when,
drop bits of water to keep it temperature.
Because he was in the steam room with him, and it was actually Roger Salas that gave him the idea about the hurricane. Which was because I'm like, really? Is he really going to try to kill this guy right here and now? I'm like, that's kind of silly, but...
Which they kind of go through and everything is seemingly working, but they actually... Hannah instead stops it every time they send down these boxes of bonds.
Yes, I see. I couldn't figure that one out either because when they were showing her...
she puts just one bond and everything, but replaces it with construction paper of like the same weight.
Yeah.
And then she would switch them out. So that basically...
I thought they were folders.
I don't know. I thought they were something. They were just paper.
I thought they were colored folders. But I see that I couldn't figure out either because when I was watching that and the blonde-haired girl, I couldn't figure out what was going on there. And I'm like, wait a minute. And then I was really tripped up too because she had the baby in the pink episode at the end. But I'm like, I thought they were a couple.
I did too until she called her your big sister.
She kept calling her big sister, but I don't think that was her sister. I think that was her sister through whatever family they put her to.
But no, I thought at first I thought they were, and then I was like, oh wait, no, because she just said she said something about being like a big sister to her, and I was like, oh well, probably not then.
No, but I don't know.
But then when I watched it, once I saw that this girl was involved with her like own washing of the bonds, basically, I realized why they made such a big deal of this girl getting a job in the mailroom, which it cleared that up for me because I was like, why are we so focused on this other girl?
Because she wanted to
have somebody in the mailroom.
Because in the heist, when you get to the White episode, you see that she knew that even though what her father was doing was wrong, even though it was right for their family and the revenge that they needed, she knew because the bonds that they were stealing were from these triplets that we didn't really go into, but the triplets are like, they are high crime, high launderers of money, and they were actually trying to get Roger Salas to launder their bonds, and he didn't know how to do it or how to fix that. She ended up doing it. She ended up sending them all out in the FedEx packages to the Cayman Islands and laundered them. And
So then they can report it as to the insurance.
So this way it would be considered stolen and they would be all good. And her dad would be in the clear because she said to him, "You're never going to get away from people like that. Yeah, you're going to do this for what?" Which is
another Easter egg thing too. Roger says that these triplets are the type of people that if you mess with, that somebody just comes up, shakes your hand, and then you're having a heart attack down the street, and that's exactly what happens to the FBI agent at the very end. Which is who kills her, is one of these people, because they find out that they told her stop digging into the triplets. Mm-hmm. She ends up dying on the street, basically.
Yes, somebody comes up and touches her. Like, I don't even know if they shook her hand. They just...
No, the guy was like, oh, thank you. He touched her hand, and then next thing you knew, she was dead on the street. As soon as I saw like I touched her hand, I'm like, oh, something's going on here. And then I was like, oh.
Yeah, I knew that was weird.
I was like, it's the triplets, because they made a point of saying that.
Yeah, and then she ends up dying. But, like, so she does this. So, in the end, there is no real bonds, those $7 million bonds. Yeah. Like, I think there were some bonds, but not, like...
I think she said she kept a case for herself. I think the dad asked her. There were some, but they were left technically in their, like, warehouse, because they had ended up
and it was all over I think, what's her name? Hannah broke... But they had money or something, because in the Pink episode, you see them with a bag of money that...
Yeah, they did have money and passports
Judy
and things
ends
like
up
that.
with,
That was just money I think they might have had left over from the diamond stuff, I'm going to assume.
Maybe.
The big thing in this episode, though, is, which plays into the Pink episode, is they kill the driver in this.
Yeah.
And they almost kill the guy Bob. Like, she almost chokes him, but that's why he doesn't have his voice, because he stabs himself in the throat to open up his airways.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Listen, I'm not Eric Voss with this kind of stuff, but I thought it was interesting that the first ever heist in the show was like fire, and then this one's like water. I don't know. I just feel like connection, something like that.
Yeah, that is.
I can't put the Eric Voss calculations in my head correctly, but it sounds like something that, you know, fire, water.
Here's the thing, is if you go with the heist, I mean, obviously water is connected with white and purity and all like that, and washing away and
and also the reason she took the bonds to the daughter was said because she knew it was never about the money for him. It was about going down there and putting this necklace to be like, look at what I did to you. I screwed you all over. Yeah,
because when they open up that vault, the big vault, he doesn't know that's down there, and it was that purple necklace that they were never intending to steal from the Violet episode. Yeah, which makes you think like that was it was a purple stone, violet, purple, and that was called Violet, which makes you think like maybe that, like how you were saying, like there's the color connections, like the pink sand, the violet necklace. You know, that's where I was thinking like the colors were coming in. But
next for me would have been red.
Oh, so mine would have been orange. So I was 3 weeks before the heist,
and I was the morning after the heist, which to me kind of just, it literally picked up right after the heist. So it was kind of like, I think it should have been like 24 hours after the heist, because it was kind of like the 24 hours that took place after it. Because this is just kind of seeing this group is like struggling to trust each other. This is kind of where it starts for the Pink.
And see, for me, like with Red, it's like where everybody's bleeding out. Yeah. Bleeding out, because it's, you know, you got Stan, Judy, and Bob fighting and like shooting each other, like you said, like, well, it starts on the boat, but they kind of give you the backstory of like, because nobody knows what happened to who. Like, Ava just comes down, the car is gone, and then Leo is left in the water, and, you know, Stan runs off. Yeah. And then, you know, Judy and Bob are in the streets, and, you know, so it kind of ties all that together, like, where now you find out when Leo comes back what went on, and now they're all accusing each other of being the rat.
It's kind of funny, because technically they're all like, oh, so-and-so's lying, but they're all kind of lying, because Stan doesn't say that he saw that Judy and Bob dump RJ's body, and she's not admitting to the fact that she killed Bob.
No.
And she's like, yeah, I saw, the other one's like, I saw Bob dead, and it's just kind of like, and they're like, you had the truck for 2 hours, so you must have switched the money. But all along, I mean, technically, Leo probably knows the most about where the actual bonds are, and he never admits to it. He knows where they are.
Oh, because he knows what she did, because he found out that in the heist. He knew.
Yeah.
But also, none of them know that he was doing this all just to set
that's
him up.
Like,
so he didn't care so much about the money. He just wanted to have him lose everything that he had and be put in jail like he was. So
which is the other thing that happens, is that the FBI kind of make the connection with Roger and they can take him in for murder, which is, I don't know, who did he murder?
Who?
That's one of the charges that they give to Roger.
Is murder?
Murder.
I didn't hear that.
They said grand larceny, murder, and something else, and theft, I think, was the other one. But I was like, murder? I mean, he didn't I guess he did technically murder the wife. If you set a place on fire with intention and somebody dies in there, it's murder.
Yeah, but I don't know how they linked that to him.
Yeah, I don't.
Because, see, that was my thing, too. Like, I don't know how Leo got charged. I don't know what Leo got charged for at that time.
No, I don't know.
Because he was in there, but who said he set it on fire? He wasn't supposed to be there, but he could have just said he was looking for his wife.
I don't know. Well, unless one of the guards woke up and said, hey, because there was people in that room with them that were like...
Yeah, but I don't know. Those are the questions that they didn't answer. Yeah. So there were some questions that they didn't touch on. But
because I was just kind of like, why is he letting the daughter go with her in episode 7? I mean, in the first Violet episode, and I realized, okay, he's in prison, so I'm assuming he must have got busted for the theft somehow. The only thing I thought was that maybe, like, Roger turned him in, was like that's why he left, was to go put the blame on him.
I don't know. Could have been. I don't know. But, yeah, then he shows up at his own building. The FBI shows up after they put the connection together. They come back with a warrant. Then his team, well, Roger's team, the one guy, Carlos or whatever, finds them and goes to Stan's wife, finds out where they are and all like that. And they end up dead anyway, those guys, because they all get away, thankfully. And they end up, like, on a boat, and Hannah walks away, you know, with nothing. But the FBI finds the necklace that was stolen 24 years ago.
That's how they kind of...
See, now to me, like, ending it like that would have been fine with the 4 on the boat. Because I would have figured they were just sailing off into whatever. Yeah. Like, I would have been fine with that ending.
Because, so for the last, for me, was your first one, which was Pink for 6 months after the heist. Which this leaves Ava and Leo are out in Ohio, kind of just trying to deal with his Parkinson's. Stan and Judy are in South Carolina, which are running low on cash. Yeah, and then Bob is alive, and he's now trying to work with Roger to kill Leo and get the money back, because he still doesn't know that the bonds don't exist, which is hilarious. He's just been going 6 months assuming that these fools are somewhere with the money.
I think Judy and Stan also think that too. Like, they don't know. I think they think that the bonds don't exist, but I think they don't know for sure either, because they think that they're just scamming
their
them.
main goal is to try to get this passport and cash that Stan has, but he refuses to talk to them.
Yeah.
And crazy enough, pretty much almost everybody dies in the end. Almost. Bob dies on the beach.
Yeah.
Ava dies in the home with the...
with his mom, with the guy that Bob sent for them.
Yeah. I mean, Stan and Judy are kind of the only ones left, but it's supposed to be left with, does Judy go and take the money
they never
on her
tell
own,
you
or does she go back with him?
Yeah,
that was supposed to be up for viewers.
They kind of give you the thought that she takes it and runs.
And then Leo gets shot at the end of the show, which...
Well, no, I don't know.
It's a gunshot, so... Well,
they don't... he could have turned around and shot whoever, or somebody... Like, because that's what I put at the end. The way they end it, I did put that they end it with... Like, him calling the daughter, saying such and such.
Like, oh, let's start with a hello. Yeah.
And I didn't recognize who the guy was that came up on him.
So, I looked it up because I was like, who did shoot him?
Yeah.
So, Netflix says you got to pay attention to the shirt. Because they did show that shirt closely. That shirt, if you pay attention, when Roger's talking to his son, Roger's son is wearing that shirt. So, it's presumed that the son...
And it was a young guy.
Killed him. Like, in his own form of payback for taking his dad now to... prison.
It could have been.
Which, to me, would make sense. Yeah. That's typically,
But they did leave it where it wasn't a clear-cut, like...
Like, did he die or did he... because the gunshot could have went off and he could have whacked him with the cane.
Yeah.
And just misfired. So it's kind of... that's where it's kind of left up for interpretation.
Interesting. Yeah.
I will say one other Eric Voss kind of little detail here is in the opening credits, every time... If you pay attention to the audio, it's like a safe cracking. Yeah. So, like, you're cracking into the episode, like a different episode in every vault, which I thought was interesting.
And the colors then come together with the one color that it should be or something.
So, we'll try not to do too many spoilers here. So, we'll talk about some of the other potential orders that you could do here with this. Mm-hmm. So, some orders that I don't think would 100% work, if you want to go for, like, not to be too spoiled with the show, I definitely wouldn't start from, like, 6 months and work your all the way back to 24 years. I feel like that would be very spoilish.
Yeah.
Like, that would just give too much away at that point. It would kind of, like, I think you would feel like how you got to, like, Green and be like...
So wait, you're saying don't start with 6 months?
Don't go, like, 6 the morning after the heist and all that. Because I feel like that would just spoil it too much for you. Like, if you went backwards instead of, like...
Yeah.
I also think I wouldn't just go in any random order. Because I think you would just start to get too confused. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think it would be too hard to put all the pieces together.
I think my my things were, I think I got lucky with the 6 months and the 24. I think that made a big difference. Yeah. I think if I did do, because it was randomly picked, but I think the ones that I randomly picked worked out well together.
Yeah.
So.
And then the biggest one too is rainbow order. Now you could decide where you would want to put pink. Netflix put pink after violet, but I know there's people that put pink before red. Mm-hmm. So it either goes 6 months after the heist, then the morning after, 3 weeks before the heist, 6 weeks before the heist, 7 years before the heist, 5 days before the heist, 24 years before the heist, and then you end with the heist. I just feel like you'd be jumping all over the place with that.
And then I think I think if you put the heist last, I think by the time you got to it, you'd be like, okay, so what? We pulled it all together now.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's better to do the heist and then do flashbacks.
Yeah, I think the heist has to be somewhere in the middle.
Like, to see how they did it. Yeah.
Orders that work, I would go with. I'd say my chronological works. It doesn't spoil it. It keeps it still like a mystery. Yeah. But you know the reason for why it's happening. I would also go with one that I thought would go well would be a backstory. If you started with... actually, I'm going to switch this. I started with green, but I would go with 6 weeks before. Then I'd go 5 days, the heist, and then I'd flash back to violet and green to clear up that. And then I'd go the morning after and then the 6 months after.
Yeah, I think that would work.
Now, this is the order that Netflix has it on in there. Like, if you just went down the thing.
Yeah.
It would go 6 weeks before the heist, 7 years before the heist, 5 days before the heist, 3 weeks before the heist, 24 years before the heist, the morning after the heist, and then 6 months after the heist, and then the heist. I don't know how I feel about that one. That's their order that comes on the thing. I mean, it could work, but once again, I think it's kind of one of those things where you're, like, jumping all over the place. Like, you're too...
I do, too.
Too kooky. Like, I think you have to have some semblance of, like,
I don't think ending with the heist is the way to go.
No. I think you need to have, like, some kind of, like, where you're going to put it. I think you'd be best to try to group the episodes into, like, different things, like we were saying.
I even think starting with the heist wouldn't have been bad.
Yeah. Like, and then work your way back.
Yeah.
I think you could have gone, like, pink, white, and then I still would keep red there because I think the morning after is really close to it.
It's like, I feel like it's almost like one episode. It just plays into it.
Yeah. I would group those, and then I would group the 24 years and 7 years into, like, an episode there. And then you can just figure out where you want to put the, like, weeks and days into it.
Yeah.
Even the 5 days, you could keep that before the heist because that kind of flows right into the heist. Oh, hi, Sissy. Sissy's doing a little stretch over there.
But I liked it for something different, like where you just had, like, you know, it was you in a weird way, even though it's filmed, you kind of felt interactive, like in a weird way, because you could choose, like you said.
Well, because it was kind of like when I was watching this, I was like, you know, it'd be so fun. I love the game Detroit Become Human, where you make your own choices in the game. Yeah, it's kind of like you decide which way you want to go. And then you kind of like have like, but then it's like I feel like it's like, you know, like a GTA. Like somebody needs to create a game like that, where it's kind of like, if you don't complete everything for this heist, it could go wrong, or you could have a different heist way. That would be a fun video game to play.
Yeah.
But it did feel very, like, interactive. I know Netflix has interactive shows where it's, like, choose your own story. And it kind of is that. Yeah, they're not that great, but they haven't done them in a while. But it's kind of like an interesting, you know, it's like an I Survived book in a sense. But essentially with this, everybody's going to have the same outcome. It's just how was the story told to you.
Honestly, I guess you could do this almost with anything, with any show. Because, like, if you did, like, the Money Heist, the one that I watched there, like, you could have done that with anything, because you could have done the heist. You could have done them it's the same. I mean, well, this obviously would have worked because it's the same MO. Yeah. But I would guess you could, like, do that with almost any show. Like, you do the main, you know, plot point of, like, what's the climax of the show. And then you know, and then you can do each episode based on
how, like, a lot of CW shows will start with, like, the main fight of the season, and then they'll, like, show how they got there. Yeah. Like, didn't Arrow do that in its last season?
Yeah, a little bit.
It started with, like, his death or something.
I think just naming it colors instead is what made it, like, seem different.
Like, ooh, yeah.
I mean, I highly recommend it. I mean, I love a good heist, so there's that. You know, you can't judge me on that. Cause
I think if you like, you know, like the Ocean's movies and things like that,
I love how they plan like the heists and stuff like that. Because
that's where it picked up for me, was once we were getting into planning the heist, because it was a lot of just like, here we are making, here's like the
plot.
But
I do think you needed the backstory of like where some of these people came together and why they acted the way they did.
What's going on? What's the main for that? Like, are they just stealing money to steal money, or like is there a purpose to it?
And a lot of them had backstories that I think was needed, and there were certain things that like they didn't show everything until like after a moment, like with the purple necklace. Like I didn't know they stole the purple necklace.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know he had that necklace all this time because he's been holding on to that for 24 years basically. So like that was interesting. Like that, like they didn't let you know that he took that in this whole end of the fire situation. But so like stuff like that was interesting.
We are, I mean, technically a little late to this. I think this came out in January, but you gotta plan out how you're gonna watch this thing. It's serious stuff. So we technically got the same but different story, in a sense.
Yeah.
It's just, how did you end it? Where, see, mine ended on like a, mystery kind of thing. Where yours is kind of like,
But see, I liked how it started though, because I didn't.
Yeah, see,
that one I think could have been the beginning or the end. It would have been good.
Episode, and then I'm not gonna lie, I paused and I didn't come back.
Because it was green, right? You started with green.
No, I started with Violet 24 years
before. Oh, yeah, that's right.
So it was kind of like, like I said, it was a lot of story building.
It was
kind of just like, just wasn't in the mood for that.
Yeah. I liked it, though.
No, it was good. I think it's interesting.
Recommended.
Yeah. Next week, though, we'll be back and we'll be doing 80s for Brady's. How exciting. We weren't sure if we were going to go see this movie. And then we had to go buy Ant-Man and the Wasp tickets, which we will also be doing that. I'm not sure what day yet. Actually, it might be going up around the same time as that. We'll have to see and plan. We'll keep you posted on that, but 80s for Brady's,
little movie specials.
Yeah, we were gonna do a Jane-a-thon if you listen to our Real Housewives of New Jersey, but her birthday was in December.
Yeah, but we could still we're still debating if we're just gonna do the movie or like throw a few of her other classics in.
We might. We'll see how it goes.
See how maybe some young ones where she was younger. We decided to do this
because all 80s for Brady tickets are matinee price, so go check it out. And then
God bless those seniors.
If you're a Cinemark goer, which I think AMC has it too, but we prefer Cinemark, they also have their discounted Tuesday, so it was like matinee, discounted, and everything. So it's a real little steal. So we're gonna go watch that, and then we will be back.
She could see all those birds flying. Look at her.
Yes, Susie's watching birds out the window. So
she was in a deep sleep though. She heard them. Look at her.
She doesn't miss a bird.
No, she doesn't, man. She wants those birdies.
So that's exciting because I know we were saying we weren't sure if we were going to do 80s for 80s.
But I have to say, I have to thank the neighbors for keeping it down on this one. Oh, no, I think they were.
You know what? It's because before we had to do this, she left her laptop in the car. Not good. But when you were down there going to get the laptop...
You think they were getting it all out of the system?
I think they were. It was like someone was playing the drums on the damn wall over here.
Okay, well, good. Thank you for doing that, getting it out of your system, and then...
Yeah, now what's just going to be... No. What's going to happen is she's going to leave tomorrow, and I'm going to be here alone left with them, and they're going to lose their mind. And then when I tell her, I'm going to look like a liar. Yeah, all right. Sorry for keeping you guys. That's it. Check out our
I just drooled out my mouth.
All right, relax there, Cooper.
On that laugh. Okay.
Check out our other episode. We did The Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Yes, the Jersey girls are back.
So we're back doing our housewife content.
And we're not really sure what we think of them, so see what you think. I don't know.
Go give it a listen.
Yeah.
Those are every Saturday, though. And then, so much more. Mandalorian's coming back already. It's so close to Mandalorian, so that's very exciting. But thank you so much.
I am actually excited for Mandalorian, and I didn't think I would be. I did like the show.
I just think it's been so long that it's like,
where are you, Mando? I love a good backstory, and I feel like that's what Mandalorian is.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's not to some people, but to me he is because, it's like... Well, I'm from the, 3 original 80s not 80s, like the original 3 Star Wars movies. So to me, trilogy. It's like, the trilogy, that's the word I was looking for. I don't know where 80s came from. Oh, you and your 80s were Brady's.
Oh, Friday. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Hopefully you'll give us a good rating, and maybe in that rating, let us know what order you went with for Kaleidoscope if you've watched, or what one you're going to do. And if you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Don't give us a thumbs down. Instead, leave a comment telling us how we can improve. And make sure you subscribe and follow and turn on notifications so you don't miss an episode.
Make sure your improvements are kind also.
Yeah, we have to go. I don't mind. Has lint on her head.
I don't mind you saying my voice sounds horrible, but, do it in a kind way.
Oh, sissy.
All right, hit the button. I got to go pet a cat.
No, that's fine, sissy.